Hey guys, Sullivan here in Philadelphia. So, of course, now that I'm trying to film, FedEx is here to drop off something that I needed for Saturday's wedding. Hi guys, Sullivan here in Philadelphia with an unusual Monday video. It's going to be a post-wedding vlog. I'm just gonna take a personal day and I'm gonna stay in my sweats all day. I was texting with my girlfriend Julie this morning about how I feel like my outfit resembles a toddler's Halloween costume. All I'm missing is some kitty ears and some fuzzy slippers. The reality is, as a self-employed person, and most of the self-employed creative entrepreneurs that I know, we rarely take advantage of the alleged freedom of our schedules, but I just need a few hours today. And rather than throw together like a quick gardening video or post an old design, I'll just show you some scenes from the last 6 weeks of weddings and events. And then I'm gonna make another cup of coffee, get a pedicure, and get ready to start working on my next couple weeks of projects. My weddings are over for the year, but I still have a couple of huge dinners, some more retail installation work at some stores, and all kinds of good stuff. So I think later this week I'll be doing, I think I might do a flower unboxing. I'm working with some unusual tropical flowers for my project towards the end of this week. So it might be cool to lay those out. Let's just talk a little bit about a couple of the wedding photos and videos and Instagram stories that I have to put in here. And then I'm gonna go get a pedicure. So my first big wedding of the year was way back in mid-September, and honestly we were so busy I didn't get any photos of it. So I'm gonna try to pull a few photos from the photographers, Michael and Melissa, who are M2 Photography here in Philadelphia, because I couldn't even snap an Instagram story. We were so busy. I realized that this year I was working in almost exclusively art museums. All the wedding venues that I was in this year had pretty tight setup restrictions in terms of how much time we had. And that particular wedding was a lot of moving parts. So we had to move really quickly to get a dinner set up, a ceremony, a chuppah, and a reception for 200 plus guests set up in just a little under 2.5 hours. So then I had a bunch of retail store work, which we've talked about. I'm not supposed to show photos. I am talking to them about possibly sharing some photos of some projects I'm going to be doing with this specific retailer for the fall and holiday season. So hopefully you can follow me on Instagram at Sullivan_Owen, which is where I post more of like the things I'm allowed to share. I was at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Art, PAFA, as we call it here in Philadelphia, for a really, really beautiful glam dinner reception in their historic building for around 100 guests. And I loved the colors for that. It was a little bit fall, but still a little bridal blush, and we had some darker accents. I thought it was really, really gorgeous. Again, running around a little bit with a tight time constraint. I didn't get too many photos, but I will be sure. I generally post over the winter because we get pro pics from the wedding photographers back heading into the winter months. Then I can't believe it was just a week ago, I was in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden for a wedding for clients that were so much fun to work with. I love when I have clients that have a really clear editorial idea of what they would like. Both of the bride and the groom both are creative and marketing professionals. So they had a lot of really fun ideas for how they wanted the day to look. And I was able to snap a few photos from that, but again, waiting for pro pics, especially for that one. But it was my first wedding at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden in the Palm House. I've attended a couple of events there, but it was my first time designing in the room. And I loved the colors and the tones, and the bride was into some unusual tropical elements that we combined with more traditional fall flowers that I thought was really successful. And then this past weekend's wedding at the Philadelphia Museum of Art was, I want to say, 15 to 16 months in the works. The bride and her mom were just so fun to work with, and they had a really, really clear inspiration, which was the Rubens tapestries, which are in now it's the 3rd floor of the art museum. The Philadelphia Museum of Art is undergoing like a 10-year renovation and construction project with a ton of new gallery spaces and new entrances and exits, etc. And so there were a lot of moving parts with the wedding, and we worked on the design for quite a while, but we always stayed true to the original inspiration, which was the Rubens tapestries, which are in the Great Stair Hall balcony. I keep wanting to say it's the 2nd floor, but now that the new 1st floor is open, it's the 3rd floor, which was, it was very entertaining this weekend with the whole team. We've all worked there before, but it was a little bit of like who's on first, because we all were calling the floors different things. So that's going to take some getting used to now that the floor numbers have changed. But I do have some pics from that. Dinner was up in the balcony with the tapestries, and then cocktails, dancing, dessert, coffee, cake was down in what they call the Great Stair Hall. Under the statue of Diana, and Inventions Productions, which is my like go-to lighting company. They did such a beautiful job working with me to light the space. The barricades you see, the white walls that we projected on, are actually part of the construction. And we were all really pleased with how that turned out, with making the designs work in what's essentially a construction zone. So that was really exciting, and I feel like everything about the day turned into a still life painting, which is maybe one of the more fun things to try to channel. And it kind of all comes together in the last details. All week I was looking at the palette. If you watched my fall bouquet video or fall arrangement video, I talked about how it's fun to see all the flowers kind of come together and kind of blend. And after I finished making the bride's bouquet, I was like, oh man, it's like the tapestry colors kind of in flower form. Everything, even though we were using a really rich palette with like lots of jewel tones and some creams and neutrals and that kind of like old tea-stained parchment color, everything, once all the flowers were combined, it sort of became, it just had this kind of like soft, muted, faded 15th century look to it. This picture I took quickly of the bouquet is in the hallway of the Logan Hotel, which is like really dim, like that, like trying to be sexy hotel lighting. And this picture is not filtered. It just kind of did that like Dutch masters thing. So, and then you can see we ended up, there were candelabras and like low bowl designs, and then there was this big still life on the head tables. There was a still life display for the seating card table. The stationery was by Paper Tree, and they did such a gorgeous job. Everything, every detail. Susan was, my good friend Susan from The Styled Bride was the planner for it. We worked with Constellation. The catering, the museum staff was great. So for my last wedding of 2019, it was a really, really positive note to go out on. And I had a huge team working because, again, we had just 2 hours to set everything up. So for all you guys that worked on all the weddings this year, thank you so much. The art museum is like no joke. It is, I think one of the events directors was telling me that now, especially with the new hallways, it's like bigger than a football field. And according to my Apple Watch, I walked 8 miles Saturday afternoon and evening. So yeah, it's an adventure. And while it's really cool to like kind of like be done with some of those, it was a really amazing experience to see this last wedding, this particular wedding, kind of come together, because it's just really been like thoughtfully planned and designed, and the guests looked like they had the most amazing time, and we had a good time making the flowers for it. And everyone, Nutmeg Cakes, Meg from Nutmeg, the cake was so gorgeous, and Eddie Bruce was the band. Everybody just did like a phenomenal job, and it was overall just like such a stunning wedding. I can't wait to see the professional photos of that, but I do have some to show. And yeah, so I'm gonna take the rest of the afternoon to just kind of chill out and read a book, drink some more coffee, and go get a pedicure with extra massage time. And then, and not take my sweats off all day. So, so I realized this was more of a vlog, a post-wedding season vlog, than a Flora video. But I'll be back to regularly scheduled floral programming later this week. And if there's anything in particular, because I kind of burned through my first 15, 16 video concepts over these last few weeks, which you can go back and watch if you are just finding me today. But if there's anything specific anyone wants to know, talk about, see, I would love some suggestions. I know that there are a lot of choices in terms of different types of gardening videos, but I really come at my gardening from a floral design perspective. So if there's anything specific anyone is curious about, leave me a comment below. And as a new content creator, I'm really trying to grow my channel and make videos that people want to see. So if you like all things flora or love all things flora like I do, please subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and come find me on Instagram at Sullivan_Owen for a little more of my day-to-day. All right, thanks guys, and I'll see you Thursday.